How often does soap opera actually imitate real life? Actually, one did, and is doing it again 49 years after its cancellation. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Declaration of Truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Today is a very slow news day. Oh, we hear that Trump and his legal team have filed motions for the return of certain documents that touch on attorney-client privilege. But other than that, well, the top 20 items on the leading trend engine mostly concern athletes, sport contests, and actors. And these include the deaths of 2 daytime soap opera stars, Anne H. and Robin Griggs, and 1 primetime soap opera actress and director, Denise Dowse. All this reminds me of 2 key facts about the soap opera form. For the many years it has existed, it has proved highly addictive. The reason for that escapes even those who are still watching. It is an uncanny imitator of life. And sometimes someone produces a show that strikes very close to real life with much higher stakes than the usual form. Then when the headlines read close to the plot, people start to wonder just how corrupt their institutions really are. Before we dive into it, I want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, including this t-shirt that I've chosen for today. The face on it is Klaus Schwab, and the caption is, "We have ways." We have ways. And I'm going to tell you a story about a soap opera that came close to predicting Klaus Schwab, though it stopped way short of his particular kind of evil, or his ability to assemble a like-minded cadre to work greater evil. Soap opera gets its name from its chief industry sponsor, companies that make soap. In fact, the most serious of these companies actually form their own production offices. They not only sponsor this kind of show, they produce it also. The most famous of these companies is, of course, Procter & Gamble. Now, typical soap operas began in the 50s and 60s with doctors, lawyers, and their families as primary characters. So, naturally, plots centered around the challenges such people faced in their work. Someone has fallen ill with a rare disease, or needs a risky operation. In fact, possibly the most common hazard of life in the fictional communities where these shows take place is motor vehicle trauma, with airplane crash on landing running a close second. Or one particularly vile character dies from an act of murder, and the police arrest the wrong person. The case will go to trial, and that trial will drag out very long until a surprise witness appears, or someone confesses to the murder on his or her deathbed, or the defense counselor, in Perry Mason fashion, extracts a confession after catching the real murderer in inconsistencies or outright lies on the witness stand. But soap opera relies on more than high medical and legal drama to draw in viewers. It relies on gossip. Much of that gossip probably couldn't embarrass someone nearly as much today as it could 50 or 60 years ago, which could be one reason why soap opera seems to be dying as a dramatic form today. But one soap opera in particular broke the mold and anticipated not just one real-life drama, but 2. One drama happened while the show was running, back in the 70s, and arguably killed it off. The other drama is happening today, and it raises the question of which sort of drama would people rather be living through? The fictional drama that seemed outlandish when it first appeared, or the real-life dramas that played out or are playing out almost to imitate it. Love is a many-splendored thing. The TV show ran from 1967 to 1973. It took place entirely in San Francisco and began as a sequel to the William Holden and Jennifer Jones movie. The original lead was a Korean immigrant who married into a white San Francisco family, or at least tried to. But the writers grew tired of drama from interracial romance and family life and moved to the immigrant's illegitimate son. We see him marry a nun, then stand trial for a murder. His lawyer gets him off by extracting a Perry Mason-style confession from the other woman in the dead man's life. But then the story arc takes the break the mold turn. The lawyer, fresh from his legal triumph, decides to run for the California Senate. His reason for running for the Senate concerns yet another character. Let's call him Big Shot. Big Shot is always looking for cheap land and other government favors. We never learn the industry he is in. He has gotten a variety of literal privileges or private laws through the state Congress that makes our lawyer friend sick. He knows how Big Shot did it too. He bought a senator. Let's call him incumbent. So lawyer decides to primary the incumbent. Big Shot doesn't like that. So he tells incumbent that he has a sort of slave at his beck and call. Someone he can threaten with arrest if he does not obey. Incumbent tasks slave to bug lawyer's apartment in the belief that lawyer will meet a party bigwig there. Lawyer, of course, seeks bigwig's endorsement, which will take the party line away from the incumbent. Slave insinuates itself into lawyer's campaign so that he can get into lawyer's apartment to plant the bug. Then he sets up his receiver, his tape recorder, and his voice activation system, and then leaves. He doesn't want to be around to listen to the conversation he has orders to record. But lawyer and bigwig don't meet in the apartment. Instead, Mrs. Lawyer receives a friend of hers, a female medical student who also is Slave's girlfriend and whose brother is a doctor and good friend of Lawyer. And Mrs. Lawyer tells girlfriend that she is carrying a child and Lawyer isn't the father. Now that I have your attention and I have you hanging in suspense, and before I tell you the first real-life drama that broke out while this story was playing out, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you weather the economic storms to come. This sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities that company provides, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, let's get back to that soap opera story. That plot I outlined has some of the traditional soap opera elements, especially gossip. But now it throws in politics, and especially dirty politics. We cannot know how much longer that soap opera would have run. Why not? Because shortly after that plot started to unfold, the first real-life imitator played out, and that imitator was Watergate. Watergate must have shocked most of those who had gotten into Love is a Many-Splendored Thing, the TV show. Except for the embarrassed wife angle, you had many of the plot elements from that show. People broke into the offices of a major political party, they planted bugs, and they looked for and photographed documents, but then the police caught them there, red-handed. Now, from the beginning, that became a major scandal because the incumbent analog in this case was none other than the President of the United States. The only reason Richard M. Nixon won re-election that fall was that George S. McGovern ran one of the worst campaigns anyone could have run. The American people looked at McGovern and saw not only a servant of the Soviet Communist Empire, but one who would govern as a communist if he won election. Americans chose the status quo over that kind of radical public policy experiment. But after the election, Nixon couldn't stop the investigation. More than that, the real-life drama killed the soap opera that seemed to inspire it or anticipated it. Few people cared for the relatively tame TV drama, which in any case came to a happy end, and I'll get to that. Not when another drama was playing out that revealed serious threats to people's liberties and might not have come to such a happy end. Then, through the summer of 1973, the Senate Select Committee on Presidential Campaign Activities dealt the final blow. Bad enough that this Watergate committee revealed lurid details that the showrunners and writers of the soap opera couldn't imagine. But then all the networks, including CBS, where the show was playing, preempted all their soap operas and game shows to carry the Senate Watergate Committee live. Yes, some people complained, but many more actually preferred the real-life drama and the comic relief. And who can forget Senator Samuel J. Ervin of South Carolina shouting this to a hapless witness at the green table? How did you expect to liberate Cuba by perpetrating a burglary in Washington, D.C.? And of course everybody starts laughing at this poor witness. Well, against all that, Love is a Many-Splendored Thing couldn't compete. So, in 1973, its last episode played out. The real-life drama ended, as we all know, with the resignation of the president. And today we see another imitation of that particular soap opera. This one focuses on a political party doing all the things the other political party in Watergate tried to do. I say tried because they obviously failed. Nixon resigned, and most of his team landed in prison. But the second drama involves the player the first one totally forgot. Big Shot. Remember him? Land development speculator who bought a state senator and also owned a slave? Does anyone doubt for 1 second that such characters exist in real life? In this drama, the champion of the people is not a lawyer, but someone who did make his money in real estate, and his career is so colorful that his enemies can make him look as bad as that fictional Big Shot. But what those enemies want you to forget is that they themselves are another category of big shots, or else they are the bought and paid for politicians, or they're slaves, willing or unwilling. And who are these big shots? Well, the fictional Big Shot sought to expand his commercial and industrial empire, allegedly at the expense of the people. Now, we don't know what sort of living he provided to others, or what happened to his empire after his death. But imagine a cadre of big shots who want and get privileges, private laws, not only in America but worldwide. Now imagine that they want to buy rulership of the entire planet and kill everyone on it but themselves. So now I offer you a choice. Which would you prefer? The fictional drama now seems tame in comparison to either of the two real-life dramas that imitated it. And as I said before, it even ends well. The good guys win and manage to patch up their differences. The bad guys actually die, one after the other. Incumbent dies in an automobile accident, and then his mistress kills Big Shot in the hospital in revenge. And that sets up another Perry Mason-style courtroom drama. In contrast, well, Watergate ended with a president resigned in disgrace before he could do any serious harm. But that paved the way for a successor who did some very real public policy harm. Fortunately, his successor managed to reverse that. But now look at the modern imitator of that soap opera. You have a sizable cadre of big shots who have bought a large number of members of Congress, members of Parliament, and even heads of state. These big shots even have a high-minded name, World Economic Forum. They have explicitly advocated population reduction, and they might have carried it out. And now their minions in America have enacted the hiring and arming of 87,000 new tax collectors. These same people have also turned law enforcement into a political weapon. And in Saul Alinsky fashion, they want you to believe that your champion is your enemy. Happily, all three dramas had one thing in common. The way that in the end, the big shots and the crooked incumbents got stopped is, at least in part, with the people's vote. Remember that, less than 3 months from now. Link in the description of the article and the conservative news and views. I have also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursilverlines.com, as I also mentioned. And if you like what you've heard, you can like this video. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link and definitely links to videos relevant to the drama now playing out. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.